good evening and welcome to the stream, everyone. So today is the day I start a new map on stream. I haven't established too much about this level. All I know are the following details. I'm going to be making a level set in the mines, so it's going to be a more or less thanks Immorpha. Thank you very much. It's going to be more or less all underground, possibly with a couple of views of the sky, but there's not going to be any outdoors areas. It's going to be very claustrophobic in that sense. There's going to be, well, I'm not promising it, but I'm hoping to have some sort of live geometry modification of sorts. Obviously it won't be dynamic, it'll be pre-defined by myself, but that'll be fun. Maybe something like a big drill going through a wall that you drive, sort of thing. That'd be cool. And I have done a small doodle of a top-down, in fact I'll hold it to this camera here, of a small top-down sort of drawing, almost Doom Builder style, of the area that I hope to make today, because before the stream I had no idea what I'm going to walk in and do. Whether or not I stick to this, no one knows. I don't even know. But there is every possibility that that will be thrown out the window right there, and I'll start with something different. Oh, the Liberation. And Breaking Tactics, no, I'm not going to be making a Slaughter WOD as much as AD79 might want me to. Slaughter map, sorry, so used to Doom. So, welcome to the editor. This is what you see when you first boot it up, and also how a new map looks when you first start making one. It's a bit empty, to say the least, but it's enough of a starting point. First thing I'm going to do is just save what I've got. I know it's nothing, but I'm going to make a new folder, DF Mine Shafts, temporary name for it for now, just something to base it on. So DF Mine Shafts version 01. So I number my versions, I keep saving as I go, and I always start a new save at the start of every session, so that anything I do doesn't overwrite the previous save, and I've always got that to refer back to for like progress GIFs, or say I decide actually the area before I made some changes was better, I can go back to it and just take that chunk, put it back in a map sort of thing. So, but yeah, so this is my map. I shouldn't have done play from here, otherwise I'll just infinitely fall into the void. I think it's a masterpiece, don't you? I mean, the skybox is lovely, but that's all there is to it. So, based on this doodle, the first thing that's going to happen in the map is the player's going to come descending down into the caves from like a big lift. I'm probably not going to do the lift first. I'm going to establish the area that the lift connects to and go from there. So the way I envision it, so if I bring this doodle back here, so down here we've got the start, and coming across it leads onto a bridge over a small like dip underneath it essentially, going across to an area which has a pistol, and then some enemies can spawn and stuff based on this idea. So I think what I'm going to start off with in this little plan that I've got is the bridge. I want the bridge to be quite thick compared to the player. I think this width here is actually probably quite a good size for it. So I'm not sure exactly what textures I'm going to use or anything else yet, but I think what I'd like to do is establish that early. So I'm just going to drag this out. I'm going to isolate these pieces and start just making a bridge. So I've done some doodles on this piece of paper that are representative of the ideas I want to convey. Whether or not I achieve that, we'll see. Pro thick should be a thing. Damn. Damn, son. Yes, it should. Slightly difference of power on stick. There we go. Cool. So the way I'm envisioning this is there's going to be sort of tech elements to the map. It's not all just going to be caves, so there'll be a couple of like little bases in the caves themselves, and various other elements similar to that. These will be primarily to break up the monotony of just caves after caves, and they'll also be there to sort of be light sources and things like that, so it's not just randomly placed pieces of geometry to serve as lights, for example. I'm just going to open up all the windows that I tend to use frequently, position them how I like them. We can also define a colour palette at some point. I don't know what sort of colour schemes I'm going to bring into this. I'm thinking the caves themselves are going to be very brown. Very brown. Lots of tan colours basically for the rocks and such. But for the tech-based pieces, I'm not too sure. Hey, thank you. So for the tech-based elements themselves, I'm not too sure what colour schemes I want to go for. So for now, I'm going to do everything just sort of monochromatic. So white lights, plain sort of grey textured pieces, and we'll come back and touch them up once we establish a colour scheme that we want. So I think I'm going to look for the lights. I'm going to add them to my roster of textures, and I'm going to apply it to these edges here. And I'm just going to drag this out, making a ring like this. There we go. So that's its own piece. We've got this side bit here, which is, I believe, detached from the rest. Yes. So I don't know what I want to do with the sides of the bridge yet, but I'm thinking some sort of handrail thing, so we'll leave the sides alone. And the top surface I'm going to detach. What I'm going to do for now is delete the bottoms of the bridge, and I think I'll delete the outer sides as well. So what I can do is come back and draw these in later. Once I've established how I want one side to look, I can just duplicate it, flip it, stick it underneath. Oh, we've got a nice heavy track to go with the slow pace of mapping today. So let's have a look. So we've got a variety of like panel textures, for example. So I'm going to avoid the pipes texture unless it's inside one of the bases, because I've used that a lot in the previous map. I want to try and give this its own identity as much as possible. In fact, yeah, I didn't need to break this up at all. Let's drag this back across. I'm going to grab this surface here as well. And I think, let's search the word floor and see what other ones come up. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for this nice chunky panel to go on the outsides of the bridge, or the flooring parts of the bridge here. So I can duplicate this face across, bring it over here, and to make it match up with the rest of the panel, I'm going to grab all this and just move it out one more piece so it sort of matches up with that panel. So this is one of those seamlessly tiling things rather than a hotspot texture. Protheus was your nickname. Was it? Interesting. So I'm thinking like a little ventilation-y looking, not ventilation, like a grating is what I mean. So if we have a look at the industrial grates, I think if I go for this one here, it looks chunky enough to like be able to withstand someone walking along it. You can see through it enough. What I'm going to do is nudge it down, lower my grid size, there you go. So if I take this one here and flip it, obviously we can't see it because I've flipped it. So we've got the top side and we've got the bottom side in place, ready. Nice. Is there an easy way to merge attached faces? Yes, so see I've got all these ones separated. I've selected all of them. So you've got combined brushes and you've got weld overlapping points as well. So in an instance where this point here, they're now welded, they're now attached to each other sort of thing. So if I wanted to say make these two come out at a bit of an angle, I could do that because they're now welded. All I had to do is actually move just that line because they're attached. So yeah, there's very easy ways to merge things, and what I tend to do is I work with things broken down and then merge them in together afterwards, because then it's easy to sort of manipulate the asset afterwards. But in individual pieces, like, it's quicker and easier to just snap and just get things done sort of thing and duplicate chunks. So what I'm going to do is select, I don't want to select the lights, and so on and so forth like that. So I'm going to select all of these pieces and duplicate those. I didn't duplicate them. because I pressed the wrong button. Look at me go. There you go, so we've got a bridge. I'm not sure if I want it one more notch of those bigger or not. I think I'm going to say no for now. Just looking at my doodle down here. So let's do some handrails to this. I'm not exactly sure how I want these to look, but I have some ideas. So I'm thinking again some more light sources would be quite nice to use. Something sloped like this, and then we could just plonk a light source on it, and that would feel quite robust as well, nice and thick and chunky. I'm going to isolate these pieces so it's not connected to everything else, and I can just move this freely. Let's see. Let's get a generic panel texture in here. So panel 01 generic. Oops, I forgot to actually bring that into my texture palette. There we go. So next up is to establish how I want this bridge to look. Or this side piece, sorry. I'm going to slice this into 2 pieces. Actually, make it 3. Yeah, we'll do it like that. So what I'm thinking with this one is it's just more or less the same shape as the other one, just slightly more indented. Just to give it something unique, I'm going to rotate this piece around. Or is it not going to let me? I'll spot rotating, there you go. Just so it's symmetrical. And I'll do the same to this piece here. There you go. So these pieces are all together. I think if I was to come and introduce colour to this later on, I'd probably colour just the middle panel or just the 2 side panels here. And then we've got this side bit that's a bit odd at the moment. So if I duplicate this down, what I can do is remove one of the vertices, and it becomes a triangular piece, and it scales itself perfectly. Look at that. Mineshafts usually have lifts that go diagonally down into the ground. You can do diagonal movement. You can do any arbitrary movement, any rotation, any directional movement. However, at the moment, there isn't actually any horizontal friction in the game. Believe it or not, I know. It is something that will probably be needed, because my, you may remember my previous map has those moving acid buckets that sort of take you across from one building all the way to another. Those actually work purely because the player's back is pressed up against the arm that's moving them across. So, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, but I'm sure the features will be present at some point. So I wouldn't worry yourself too much over it, and yes, you could do that, but for now, I'm thinking of it going directly down, and I've got a reason for that. Okay, let's go for the trim textures. So there is a trim. These previews are not the best, I must admit, but I believe it's trim 01. Yes, that's the one I want. In fact, I'm going to isolate these 2 just so I can bring this out one piece. And then we're going to do that and get rid of the 2 corner verses that we don't need. So it matches the lights every other piece, but there's no lights on the second one. I think all these top pieces here, I'm going to use that trim on. There we go. So if I grab all this, I can just duplicate it. And if I grab these 2 sides on their own, I can duplicate and flip them. Oh, hello. There's something else attached to that. All of this. There you go. So if I flip that, it's now flipped this way. I believe I have a duplicate. Okay, cool. Just going to make sure I don't have any accidental duplicates of things here, because something did go a bit weird when I did that duplication because I had multiple things selected. Cool. So now that I'm happy with this chunk, this one side piece here I'm going to keep as its own, just weld it. Then the rest of them I'm going to stitch into one piece. I've selected an object as well as the geometry. Here we go. So we've got this piece here. I'm going to combine, I'm going to weld. So you may have noticed some things changed. If you don't want that to happen, you can select a face and set it to locked, and it will never change. So I'm very happy with the way this stuff is organised, so I'm going to set all of it to locked. So now if I was to create a duplicate and rotate it, none of the textures try and automatically adjust themselves, it's just there and it works. Breaking Tactics is actually the introduction to the map, so there probably won't be any combat on it. It'll be a moment for you coming down there. I'm envisioning like an angled window coming downwards, letting you look into the area you're about to approach. And the way I'm envisioning this area working is you've got two ways of tackling it. Basically, there's going to be a pistol up ahead. I just need to flip this. There you go. So far, so good. Oh, Immorpha, please. Oh dear. So, as I was going to say, yeah, there won't be any combat on that lift at all. It'll just be like a 10-second introductory sort of animation almost, if you will. And there'll be a few enemies scattered in your way, and I'm picturing the player doing one of two things. One, they're going to go full on Mike Tyson and just punch everything, go on a bit of a punch out. Or option two, the more likely option in my opinion. So you'll be coming down the lift, you'll end up here, you'll open the door, you'll see an enemy, you'll see another enemy, and you'll see a weapon straight ahead. I'm thinking people are going to go, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, straight to the weapon, basically. Maybe. Hopefully I can make it enticing enough to do that. Right, so let's do the top face to this and the bit that curves around to the underneath. This bottom piece here I can envision having like a more support structure-y type thing, with like a beam coming down supporting it on the floor below. So I think I'm going to put that into effect. I'm going to merge all of this into one chunk now. I'm quite happy with that. So if I duplicate this out and isolate it so it's its own thing, I can apply different textures to it, and I think what do I want to do with this? I want this piece to be flat so you can just jump on it. Maybe. I mean, we could do a secret that's like that. For sure. Okay, so if I duplicate this and make it this size here. So the one that is lining up with the floor panel, I'm going to make a bit wider. And I'm going to rotate it. I'm just going to try and get this bit drawn out and envisioned first so I can see what I'm going to do with it. So that's now in line with the bottom of the bridge. If I was to bring that down 2 and across 4. And straight across here. If I go above I can see the yellow lines telling me exactly where it lines up to. So again across 4, up 2. Bring that up in line with the top. Bring that across 4 pieces. And just to help visualise it, I'll flip and rotate this. There you go, so I've gone not far enough by 1 notch. So this piece here is going to rotate the whole way around. And it'll be a bit thicker than the rest of it, just to give it some sort of sense of support. And it really is, dude. You don't know what you're missing out until you get your hands on this, trust me. So I can duplicate this piece. There you go, so that lines up nicely. And what I can do here, if I duplicate this one across, I'll just scale it back a little bit. So now you've got that sort of crossbar going across in the secondary piece here. In fact, what we could do, if I was to slice that and use a texture that can go triangular, and in fact I'll do the same to this piece, make it that face. what I can do is, let's think about this. I don't need that face there, and I don't want these two pieces here. I could just merge that, grab a line, bring it down. I actually didn't weld the points. It's not an issue. Just it's a little bit more different than the rest of it, and it feels a bit more nicely curved. What do you guys think? Do you think that looks okay? I mean, it works for me. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to stick to that. So, because I've made that change, I need to make the change on all the other sides as well. So, in fact, I'm just going to delete this one again. This is why I sort of work in portions when I know that it's going to be symmetrical. Come out of this view. Select all of those, deselect this piece, make sure I've got the sides. I'm going to isolate it, I'm going to combine that, and then I'm going to duplicate it across, and somehow I still grab this. Whoops. Cool. Yeah. Right, so this piece here that I have going the whole way across, I'm going to isolate this one bottom piece for now. And just change the size of this a little bit. So this piece here, I'm going to take a chunk off, I'm going to slope it down. I don't know how far down we need to go, but that's not an issue right now. We'll worry about that once we've got the underside present. Perfect. We can just bridge these two sides. And like magic we have... I think this side here is going to butt up against some rocks, but this side here would need a face. So if I just draw something for both sides for now, I'm going to combine them, weld what we have so far. Yeah, breaking tactics. I don't know what the verdict is on that. I know up front that it's not top priority. At the moment, the priorities lie in getting the editor itself to be like a good tool, first and foremost. Right, I don't think this face here works. Maybe a light. Oh, I've hidden everything, which should be... there you go. Yeah, so the priorities is getting the core game functions themselves built, and then any additional things such as an OBJ importer and exporter sort of come afterwards. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depends how you view it, that's just what's got to be done, you know. And for my sake, having it in the editor, the tools sooner are more important, because I need to get the game built before you get your hands on it. So there's me asking for all these new features in the editor themselves. Hey Clay, how you doing? Cool. So we don't need this piece, we don't need this piece, and we don't need this piece, because they're going to be replaced with the big old bars. So if I duplicate, well, sorry, I extrude this piece upwards and isolate it, I'm going to use a different texture, and I'm going to go with panel texture just because I know this one can do angled pieces. Like so. Yep, that should work, and I'll bring this piece up and bring that one vertex down. So I need to do an angled piece here. So if I bring this up, separate this one piece, bring it up, extrude that face downwards. There you go. So we've now got some angled pieces here, so there's no texture distortion going on. How does it feel going from Doom mapping to this? Surprisingly fluid, actually. I thought I'd have a hard time. But it turns out I'm getting on with it just fine. Yeah, that seems okay. So let's finish drawing in the sides for this piece. Have one bar that goes across there so it looks more sturdy. And then to make my life a little bit easier, I'm just going to duplicate those pieces and then flip them. I think it's, yeah, Z-axis. I can never remember which is Z and which is X, so just try them and you'll get the right one eventually. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit unusual today, by the way. I woke up this morning with a full-on cold. Snotty nose, sore throat a lot. I don't know why. Brilliant. So all that's left is to bring across these faces to the other side for now, and then we'll delete as necessary later on. I'd rather they were there and then deleted later than not there and causing problems later if I decided to have them exposed. There you go. Oh, I'll just get this mid for that. Cool. So we've got our bridge chunks, support chunks there. Now, to help envision it, I'm going to finish this side here. Down 2. So there's the underside of the bridge coming along. And yeah, it does Magic 76. Generally no, but I do test my maps on the lowest sort of pixelation setting possible to make sure that the important stuff can't really be missed, so you can still see things like keycards when it's important to, and stuff like that. Yeah, I've not used Trench Broom. I used to use GTK Radiant for quick 3 arena mapping. I have to say this is similar, but not really, because in those editors you still had your 2D views. Cool, so I've duplicated this piece across. Now I need to duplicate those across. Bam, we've got a nice sturdy looking bridge, look at that. I'm quite happy with that actually. No, not yet. Not really, Liv. But then I haven't tried to break things yet. I'm very aware that things are still in development, so there could be limits that will be found. But no, I haven't really had anything be an issue yet. I'm not going to say there won't be issues. And the only issues, quote unquote, that I've had so far are ones where it's like it's a feature that's not in the game yet. So it's not like it's a bug or a problem, it's, you know, not there. There have been a few bugs that I've discovered, but obviously in an in-development game that's to be expected, and those will be quite quick to be fixed, I think. So there's the top of the bridge, and later on there'll be like, I'll bring up my doodle again. So this might be hard for you guys to understand well, so if you look at the top right corner of the stream, I know it's a bit small. So, and I'm having to navigate this through an even smaller thumbnail. In fact, let me make this bigger. Here we go. So the player's going to start in a lift shaft here. This is the bridge here, coming across. And then down here are going to be some like rocks that let you navigate down underneath it. I'm not sure what's going to be underneath it itself yet. And then I was envisioning it having like a pathway that comes this way for some like extra goodies, and maybe there'll be more like branching off this. I don't know yet. Oh yeah, god, the barrel phasing bug, that is quite interesting, that one. But yeah, so here's where you start, straight across the bridge. There's going to be this like podium type thing going up to the ceiling, holding up the rocks above sort of thing, making sure it's nice and sturdy. Inside there's going to be a pistol, and when you grab it there's going to be like enemies spawning like over here and a couple over here and stuff, just to surround you and get your adrenaline going, hopefully. So I have already done that actually. I could share it in the chat for you guys now. Give me 1 second. I am one of those idiots who use Snapchat. So here, let me drop that on the stream for you. I don't normally do blueprints, no, Bassarin, but because I'm not as familiar with this editor as ones I normally use, I feel a bit less ready, if you will, to just wing it. All I need though is something to get me going, something to start the plan, and everything else will sort of grow off of there. I don't draw my whole maps normally, and this, as most of my Doom buddies will know, this is very out of character for me. I've dropped a link in the chat. I don't know if that works for you or not, or if you need to be logged into Discord. Hopefully it works. You should be able to get a better angle on it. Cool. So that's the whole bridge done. Obviously there's this missing face here, but I'm planning on this side being bussed up to the wall. This side not so much though. So I'm going to have to do something to connect this. So, yeah. But I'll do that in a bit. So the way I'm envisioning this is it has like a little step to it. In fact, if I bring this wall there, I thought I still had the line selected. Oops. So if I bring this out just a chunk, and we use... let's go back to that panelled texture. There's a smaller version of this same panel. I think it's this one. Yeah, there you go. So that'll work as a step texture. Just change the size to something a bit more logical for it. There you go. Oh god, Clay, someone did start writing a Z-script collision detection system for models. They never finished it, sadly. That would have been a real dream. I think what I'm going to do is delete these side pieces here on this side. Have that come across here like that. Set up to this texture. In fact, I don't want that piece there. This one I'm going to isolate, bring it across a bit, and bring it down. Delete that part there, and if I isolate it again, so we can stop the Z fighting, I just need to move this vertex across. There you go. It's a little bit messy looking, isn't it? I think for this side only, I'm going to have to just redo that part there. In fact, that's really an easy fix, isn't it? So I know this side is going to connect to the rock, so let's just delete these pieces, because I'm adamant that's what's going to happen. So I don't need these sides at all. I don't need that piece at all. So this piece here can come down to be level with where the rocks I intend to be are. So that's actually in line with this, which is quite nice as well. Oh yeah, the other Josh. I forgot what numbers follow his name though. 771 or something, I can't remember. Let's get a little light down there. Hell yeah. Do the same on this side. Sweet. So I'm going to save what I've done. Save often, lest you regret what you've not saved. And see our bridge. This is a good height. I'm going to pause the music for a second. In fact, what I'm actually going to do, I'm not going to pause the music. I don't think Prodeus has any options in it yet to adjust the sound, so what I'm going to do is go to my volume mixer and just kill the sound for Prodeus. I think that should kill it for you guys as well. Liberation, this will be my third map, although my second map is very much work in progress. Man, this all feels like good jumping mates. How about when I'm not? Yeah, okay, so you can't clear it without running, but a run jump, nice. Yeah, so this is going to be the third map. So basically I've got a map that I work on during my lunch breaks, during my day job. Admittedly I haven't done anything on it for about 2 weeks now because I just haven't had the chance. Okay, so this one I want to rotate, and this one I want to rotate as well. And this one. These three are okay though. Cool. Oh dear, I just went back to the menu. That's fine, there's a hotkey to come out, straight to the editor. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Rotated. Done. So now they connect round to this side a bit more logically. Too much Doom Guy trying to punch it into rotation. Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about doing the rocks and stuff this side yet. My next endeavour will be to just copy these. Will be to start doing the front facade for the lift, like the entry point, if you will. God, my throat is so sore. I might have to talk a bit less. Sorry, guys. I'm sure drinking Coke isn't exactly the smartest choice either, but idiots do what idiots do. Cool. I'm just going to do something experimental actually. I'm going to drop a box in. I'm going to position this box smack bang in the middle. Not that it needs to be. Largest grid size. I'm going to make this unnecessarily big. Way bigger than you need it to be. The reason I'm doing this, you'll get in a minute. So I'm going to duplicate that and flip it so there's an inside side to it as well. Doing it so this whole place exists inside rather than outside. See how that changes the lighting? Now, here I can teach you about environment probes actually. So an environment probe is this little ball here. That does a lot of control on the lighting. So what it does is it takes a sample of the light level and then amplifies it or adds some intensity to it and stuff like that. So in this case it understands that the lighting here is dark, so it sets everything to be, well, dark. See how the bit outside of it? It's just like the sort of default neutral brightness. So you use the environment probes. In this case I'd probably have a very big one that's like encapsulating the whole area that the bridge is in and stuff, to set the light levels. Because by default things aren't just solid black in this engine. But to help me, I'm going to add black and then call it black, so you can just see its name there. Add colour. I'm going to delete that cloned white because no one needs it. I'm going to apply the black to this just so it feels a bit darker in here. So if I go in game now, like that. I fell. Sad times. No clip. Nice. So you can definitely see through it. Quite clear. And then when you're underneath it, I guess you'll be able to see back through it. You can see the lights through it, so that's okay. Now, this takes a sample of the lighting near it, so if I put a lot of dynamic lights near it, that would affect the environment probe's brightness. What I'm going to do is drop in a couple of small lights around these. I'm not going to have them anywhere near this intense or bright. So if I lower the intensity, I lower the range to about 7. I wouldn't even reach across the bridge then. Yeah, maybe do 10. I think the intensity I'm going to do 0.5 on instead. So it is quite a soft light. It will help this place feel really dark and dingy. Bring that across. Do another one over here. Grab all 3. Duplicate those over to this side. And then I'm going to do another one that's inside the middle of these grates here like this, to sort of act as the light source for these bits here. I might get rid of these ones, we'll see. And so that those cast shadows, if I grab all 4 of the grates, duplicate them and flip them, there's now grates on the inside which will then let the light cast, well, light through those grating bits. Not that you can see it on anything at the moment because, oh, you can sort of see it here, See how it's like got the holes off the texture showing lights through. So that feels a bit more like the sort of light level I'd be looking for. Something really, really dark, really dingy, really, don't know, oppressive is probably the word I'm going for. Now imagine this had like caves all around you and a big central structure in front of you, and like a few branching off pathways in the caves around you, and like some, I don't know, rocky stairs coming down this way, under the bridge, rock wall all across here, like a little tunnel going this way to a different place. Who knows? That's roughly what my sketches outlined anyway. Sweet. So I'm happy with that bridge for now. So, do I want to do the environment or do I want to do the introduction, the building? Tell you what, viewers, cast your vote now. Do I do the front of the building? Or not? I mean, I'm going to start doing the front of the building while I wait for an answer. What was the poll? Do I do the building that's sort of built into the rock wall, which hosts the lift for the player to come down on when they start the map, and do all the lift and everything else, or do I do all the rocks and stuff that are in this direction over here? What would you prefer to see? You'd like to see how natural terrain is made? Okay. So, I'm going to throw it out there before I go too gung-ho with it. Prodeus terrain is intentionally blocky. Part of that thick aesthetic. So if you're wondering why I'm not trying to slope everything too much, that's why. I'm just going to finish this piece here. And in fact, I'll show you the assets, or not the assets, the prefab. So if I go to prefabs, I want to put a door in the map, and I want it to be one that goes upwards at a flat angle, so we'll stick this one in the map. Bang, there's a door. As if by magic. That makes me realise just how big that piece is. I like it. Nice and impressive. I'm going to finish this little chunk here. Come out game mode. Slice that into 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. And have 2 pieces that come down here like this. I think I want the whole door to be inset a bit. So if I select just that for now, I'm going to bring the door inwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing huge. But it will allow me to do things with this terrain here that's a little bit more interesting. 1, 2, 3. I'll bring this outwards a little bit. 2. Do the same up here. Get rid of that piece, and then we're going to bridge those pieces to create like a top piece there. Nice. So I have to blow my nose, I'm very sorry. I'll mute my microphone for you 1 second. God, I love being unwell. It's just great. Okay, so let's finish this piece off here. So I'm going to delete the corner pieces again, just so you've got the nice triangles here rather than having it disappear behind the texture. And I think what I would like to do here, yeah, I'm going to bring these in to mimic the other side. In fact, I'll just let the other sides go up like that. Bring that one in. Curious ideas here. So I'm thinking, if I was to stitch these two together, what's the easiest way? Oh right, yeah. Grab the wrong vertex, that's why. So if I stitch those two together to make a diagonal like this, I grabbed all that and I combined it, I should be able to lift this up and angle that piece as well. Nice. I quite like that. Then to make it look a bit more, don't know, proper, for want of a better word, bring a light in here. And then these two I'm thinking of using the number texture, or is it tab number or is it just panel? That's the one. Hotspot vertical, so they're upright. There you go, the O2 graphic. If I duplicate this across, I can just set this one to have the smaller panel texture. That makes sense, that works. I think to make it more consistent, this set of lines here needs to go across, as does this set here. And then I think I'm going to change the way this bit here is drawn. So if I bring these as squares across instead, and do just two triangles going downwards, it'll look a bit less clumsy. There you go, that's a bit nicer. So I could duplicate this light over here, bring it across up towards this surface here, so it makes a bit more sense. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, I love it, it's feeling really sci-fi. Nice. So I've been mapping for about 40 minutes, so I tend to try and save a new copy every half an hour or so. So if I save a new copy now, everything I do hereafter goes into the new copy, and therefore the next stage, if I was to do a GIF of all the stages that this map had. I hate that I'm tempted to do these as lights. I don't want to go overboard on lights this time. I want it to feel dark. What do you guys think? Having seen them there, I think I want them, to be honest. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. Cool. Well, I'm very happy with how this bridge has turned out, considering I didn't doodle anything like this. Yeah, BDC, as I said earlier, I'm not too sure what colour scheme I want to go with on this map yet, so I'm going to do everything in a grey sort of monochrome thing and then come back and colour them later. But as an example, just so you can see, I could grab like these pieces here. I could just duplicate this across. And let's say I wanted, oh god, we've brought in all the colours from the door, haven't we? Actually, the door's yellow. I probably won't use a yellow key, so let's say I use yellow as my colour. I can paint them yellow. Obviously these are in a really dark spot, so it's kind of hard to tell they're yellow, but perhaps I want, I don't know, these lights to emit yellow light instead. That can be done. Like to see BB try and burn it. No wood here, friend. Maybe these two go yellow. See, I don't want to settle in on the colour scheme too soon. but I do quite like the idea of a bit of yellow here. That kind of feels goofy, actually. Yeah, if I isolate this piece. No, I really liked how oppressive that one large piece was, so if I just do two side bits that yellow, and have that in grey. See, I'm thinking this is where that window is going to be. A window coming up and around sort of thing, and as you're coming down the lift you can look through that window across the bridge. Damn. So much for not using too many lights. If I keep the actual light entities to a minimum and they're just like light textures, that should be okay. Because they have bright maps on, so it doesn't matter how dark the place gets, you'll always see them, but they don't necessarily emit any light, they just reflect off of some surfaces. Love the little solar flares happening around the place as well. Don't normally notice it, and they're quite subtle. Don't know how, excuse me, I don't know how well they're translating on stream to you. Yeah, they seem a bit washed out on the stream. Cool. Okay, let's do some rocks. I could do the rest of this building later. So, I'm just going to use this as a surface to get some rocky stuff going. So it can be any arbitrary shape. There's a few ways of going about it, and I feel like Jason is way more efficient at rocky terrain than I am, but that's not going to stop me. So, if I go up to the material browser, get rid of the search, we do have, in environment, we have natural, and then stone. So there's a few different cliff wall textures, like porous stone, stone wall, stone flats, cliff wall 1 and 2. So what I tend to do is use like one of the stone flats for the floor, and then a different one for the wall. Again, very doom, I know. But I feel like it gives a good contrast between what you can stand on and what you can't. So if I add the porous stone to the texture roster, bring this across, just thinking like, that brought a lot of colours with it, even though there aren't many colours here. So I think it inherits the full colour palette of the map. That was used as the prefab. So in this case I'm actually going to go and delete a few of these colours that I don't need for now. Obviously I can add them back in later. Don't need 2 yellows. Don't need a magenta. I do want to do a level that's primarily pinks and magentas at some point. Can you multiple select? No, not yet. Don't need black, so I've already added that. So that's a good tan colour there, so I could use that for the rocks. And then base a secondary one off of that colour as well. So I'm going to rename this as tan and add a new one, so it's just at the end of the thing, so when I add another texture it comes in properly. Cool, so the green I need, the yellow I need, for consistency's sake, and then we've got tan. So at the moment you really can't see much of this. So I'm going to apply this colour, and for the sake of making this easy to see, I'm going to bring a light in that's 1 intensity and about 50 range, just so you can see its colour and the sort of surface. So that doesn't look very walkable, so I might not use this texture as the one that you walk on. Stone flat on the other hand is pretty smooth compared. So I think this will be the top surface, and then if I was to grab the side, I'll use this side for now, and I'll bring this light in again down here. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near this tool, just throwing it out there. If I used Cliff Wall 2 in my last map, so if I do something different for this one, let's see what Stone Wall 1 looks like. It's a bit more like a rugged version of the top, but not different enough. Cliff wall one? Let's have a look. That's more like what I'm envisioning. So I can do layers to match up with these chunks here as well. Fade, I am allowed to ask questions if I know the answer. Obviously I won't know everything. So I can realign this surface here. Bring this up to the top there, so that sort of indentation lies with the top. Won't feel so clumsy then if I do various things. If I grab these three pieces. So each of these white blocks is like a meter or something like that. So if I said this was 5 meters tall, there. Cool. So we've got a nice rock surface there. Just wondering if there's a limit to the size of a map in Prodeus. As far as I'm aware, no. You'll be hitting a more physical limitation in the sense of like your computer's performance and stuff before you run out of map space, I imagine. So the way I tend to do rocky terrain is I just extrude one face and manipulate the fuck out of it. Keep extruding, keep adding pieces. And I try to do it in a sort of semi-irregular pattern, something that's not like mathematically calculated, that makes it feel more natural. I am going to line this piece up to the grid. Don't ask me why, I just kind of want that one there, so that's lining up nicely on the grid down here. Now, the sides aren't going to be needed, but I'm going to do a big ass box over this way for now, and this place will be even bigger when I'm finished with it, but yeah. That'll do. I'm actually going to drag this out here like this. And bring this one in. And go for some nice chunky blocks coming out this way. So let's have a look at my doodle that I did. So yeah, this one here I wanted to come inwards quite a bit. Towards the bridge, and we were going to have I'm umming and ahhing a lot about this, but I was going to have like a second layer come up this way. And then this layer be something that like has a imp standing on top and stuff like that. Will custom maps be a thing that you can do with relative ease? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Fade's correct there. So, everything I'm doing now is the editor at its peak difficulty. We're endeavouring to make it easier and easier with each iteration. Obviously more feature complete, but also with more speed and ease of use features added. So at the moment I'm on a nice big thick chunky grid. Make a little passageway down there. I'm going to line this up to where the building is. Like, I think if I bring this one out a bit, there you go. So this building is going to be built into the wall here. Not too sure how I want to do the building on top of this, but we'll see. And in fact, I think I want all of that. Whoops, didn't mean to grab this window. To just go away. So I'm going to grab all these faces and just yeet. Goodbye. And for my simplicity's sake, I'm going to delete those two and start again from here. That way it comes out from the building instead of inwards on the building, and would actually look like the building is supported. Not sure exactly how I'm going to go about drawing that building yet, but we will see. Bring that out this way a little bit. So yeah, this is how I go about doing natural terrain. I just draw random shapes until I'm actually happy with it. So like that, and I'm actually going to delete these pieces that I've done here because I've capped it in the opposite direction instead. Cool. Now this top face I don't need. That's just not needed. I'll be doing that later. But now that all of this is like one consecutive piece, I can make sure it's combined and welded, and then I can simply cap off the bottom, and it creates a floor or something in the same shape as it. Now, the editor currently, I don't know if this is something that is fixable or will be fixed, but you can see this overlap here. So if a shape is convex, I believe is the correct word, where it sort of caves in on itself and goes back out, so like a C shape, for example. Sometimes this happens. What you can do to fix it is simply stitch two faces together, then you've got much less extremes of the convex, and it usually handles it better. Slice as many times as needed to get the desired effect. So what I can do here, unfortunately needs to be on a lower grid to make it work nicely, is just add lines between two existing lines. Sort of like adding a vertex in Doom Builder, and then I can move that around to wherever I need it to be. Cool. So I've got this piece all the way down here now, like a little ravine almost. Hi there, Warp Pro. I'd say I was probably more, or equally passionate when I was doing Skull Dash mapping. But yeah, sorry, Everternity mapping, not Skull Dash. But yeah, Everternity did sort of wear me down a bit. So I'm going to go for a, I think the lower down we go, the more sort of saturated I'm going to go. So I'm going to add a bit of red and take away a bit of blue, and take away a bit of green. So I'm going to call it Tan 2. There we go. And I'll apply the colour to the floor. So there's some contrast between the walls and the floor here. Nice. Yeah, I like that. Well, yeah, I mean, Everternity, I did too much too soon. So here you can see where the environment probe that I've got, this thing, you can see the line here. So if I go in game, you can see the difference between sort of more intense colours and then the less intense without the environment probe. I'm going to do a save, because if I do like double intensity, for example, you see it takes on some more of the sort of lighting from up here. I could bring in like 0 intensity, and actually I don't think it did much on 0, but yeah, sometimes this takes a bit of time for it to adjust. So I'm just going to do something that I've never done before, which is a huge environment probe. I don't know how well that handles in-game. Also, light bleeds between from surfaces at a long distance. But we're talking a very long distance here. This is giving a better image of what I want this place to look like. Yeah, I like it. So, obviously I slapped some lights in earlier. We've got this one here, and we've got the one that's down here. So I don't want these lights where they are. I've thought of where those lights would go. There you go. That makes a bit more sense than these ones. They aren't needed. So that's getting light from here. I'm going to get rid of that for now, even though it was quite nice and striking. And so this remains illuminated going down. I'm going to duplicate these, bring them to the middle. Unfortunately, you can only do it one at a time at the moment, but I'm going to increase the range and lower the intensity of it on both of them. And I'm going to bring them down closer to the floor, so the floor gets a bit illuminated from the lights above, or so it looks. Is there liquids in this? At the moment, the only liquid we have is lava, but you can recolor it to any color. I'm hoping for more specific liquids, but I actually don't know if water is in the plans or not right now. Anyway, can a single texture be applied to multiple surfaces? Absolutely. So if I was to select all of these surfaces here, so I've got all 4 of these on the pillar, and say actually I wanted them to be the light texture, I could just slap the light on all 4. That's too much light for this though. But yeah, you get the point, so you can do that. Now, one thing I do want to do, which that has got me thinking about, is make a little light fixture. Yeah, let's grab those. Delete the extra pieces that we don't need from it. Didn't mean to actually do that, I meant to extrude. Cool. Grab all those. I'm going to just put a generic panel texture on here for now. Now what I wanted to do was try and make better use of excuse me, my voice really is going, of spot textures. I don't think this would be a good representation of a spotlight, sorry, not spot texture. Yeah, a little inset light would be pretty nifty here. Grab all these pieces, move them down, and then I'm going to isolate the top and the bottom for now. Lift the top up by 2, lift this up by 1, bring that down and bring that up, so we've got like a little angled piece to it. Just so it's a bit more decorated, rather than just a box. Excuse me, I'm going to have to blow my nose again. This cold is driving me insane. Hello. I return. Okay, so where were we? Ah, yes. Right. Getting all this shaped up to be how I want it to be. Cool. So if I look at that, I need to put a light there so I can actually see what we're looking at. So I'm using the yellow grid guides here to see what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do actually, if I pull this light out, this is a little trick. So if you wanted to do like a strong shadow source for the light, what you can do is create a box behind where the light's going to be. Use the shadow map texture, so if I go for shadow and apply it to the texture, and now I'm going to extrude this out to create a box and invert it by pushing it backwards into the thing. So behind this texture, if I was to delete it, and behind that one again, texture's one-sided, so if there's a light behind the texture, the back face isn't rendered so it doesn't cast shadows, so you can cast shadows through textures. We have a little shadow box here, so I could put the light inside here, and that will prevent the light bleeding out the sides of the light pillar, for example. I'm going to undo the deletions just so the textures I want there are still there. Then the lights can be situated in this little box, nice and comfy. Now I'm going to stitch all of this stuff together into one solid piece, including the shadow box. There you go. Combine, weld, and then I'm going to grab these side pieces like so. Because these ones here and then flip. Join it to the rest of it. And then lastly I want to make this light a bit more intense. Maybe I'll pull it forward a bit more so the angle is a bit wider. That's quite nice. Bring the range down to say 12, so it's not quite reaching the walls. There you go. Right, let's catch up on the chat. You can use the decal and set its size to 0. Immorph, that's a bad idea. You were there, you know what we're talking about. We don't want the whole map to be blood. How does it handle aligning textures on complex curvature like Taurus, for example? You know, I don't know. I haven't tested it elaborately. I do know in some instances textures don't line up too well. In like this instance here, so I'm going to make this like 100 range. So as you can see, this one here has already misaligned itself. Simplest solution to that, I guess, would be grab everything up to the point where it misaligns and just realign it. This is the non-hotspot stuff, and it's only going to improve from here, so I'm not too sure is the answer. I imagine it will handle quite well at some point. Okay, is there any back faces to this that I don't need? No. So, I'm happy with this, so I'm going to duplicate it. Flip it around. Another one on the side there. What do you guys think? Are we going a bit too moody, a bit too atmospheric here? So I'm trying to do something that's a bit different to the other levels, which are quite bright. Can you only view the editor in one of the graphic styles, or can you use all the graphic styles in the editor? You can use all the graphic styles, so like... give me a minute. I'm actually going to have to do a BRB screen because I don't want to put my emails on the public screen. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so when Jason sent me one of the builds for Prodeus, he told me the hotkeys, and I couldn't remember what the resolution change one was off the top of my head. I normally just refer to that list. So yeah, you can toggle in the editor, you can toggle in game. Obviously, it'll probably be bound to an option menu rather than like an easy to hit button. But if you want to see it in like the lowest of low pixelation formats, there you go. If you want to see it, the next one up, the next one up. And then crisp, just toggle. But yeah, in the editor, if you have it set so you've got your pixelation how you like it, so you've got like editor view, you've got I don't know what you'd call this view, but high def view if you will, and then game mode. I think this is a little bit more intense than it needs to be. A little bit. What's this map theme? It's going to be mines, caverns and mines. It's nice and moody. So if I go to this mode but in HD, so the difference between like the HD preview, if you will, and the game mode is it doesn't apply things that lights show. So if you see when my mouse is down here, for example, you'll see this light get reflected off this texture when you go into game mode. So for the most part, I preview in this mode all the time. And this is the one that has the pixelation enabled, just at varying levels. I think if I was to play with pixelation, I'd either go for this setting or the one up from it. And there's without. I tend to do without at the moment for the stream, just so it comes through a bit less like fuzzy and broken on the stream itself. Yeah, that sort of vibe, Fade. And H-Nox, there will be weather in the game at some point, so possibly, but right now, no. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I need to think about what I'm going to do. I mean, sure, you could do a castle. There's nothing stopping you once you get your hands on the editor. Puzzling. Not sure what to do. Yeah. So based on my original plan, I had like rock stairs coming up around this sort of structure-ish. I mean, my doodle was very loose. So I guess I will do that. I mean, these walls are huge. If I take these two surfaces, combine and flip, and then just do play from here, you'll realise just how... I need to put some lights here. Oops, wrong hotkey again. So yeah, these would be huge steps, way bigger than I need them to be. And how is entering a professional game dev environment? It's actually quite different to the Doom side of things, honestly. I'm used to working with like a complete set of resources from the beginning, and here there isn't that. So I'm having to work as things are being created, sort of thing. Ooh, nice circle jump. See if we can do that again. Oh, not quite. I love the fact that there's air physics good enough just to do these slight circle jumps and things like that. Now we could go for some really nice high contrast lighting in this map. But yeah, this scene's coming together. In terms of teamwork, yeah, I mean, Jason and I have very much got each other's backs, so it's, if anything, it's less competitive and more motivational, which is really, really nice. Okay, so I'm going to base it off of one face here. I'm going to skim the size of this down a bit. And I'm going to grab two sides and add splits to them, so we've got extra vertices to work with. Then we can block things downwards. I actually meant to go outwards like that. So I'm going to try and get this where it lines up nicely with the grid, which would be down to... I'm going to have to adjust the grid size to get this to match up a bit better. There you go. That's actually perfect. Cool. So yeah, that's the one of the biggest issues you might have with working on natural terrain, is just simply getting it to stick to the grid nicely when you're trying to join up something that doesn't have a line in it. Obviously you could add lines as you see fit. I'm actually going to try slicing this off. So there we've got a convex shape again, so having that slice was actually handy. see what I'm doing, I'm going to bring this light over this way. So these top surfaces, we're going to apply the other rock texture, the stone flats. And now you can see like a stark contrast between the rock texture and the flat texture, if you will. Track name, this is Galactic Empire playing the Forest Battle. It's all Star Wars metal. Here's a link to Spotify for you. So I'm going to chunk this downwards, grab these side textures and change them to the cliff. So I think if I go for sizes I know the player can jump up, and I'm not too sure if the player can jump up that, so I'm going to give that a test. I'm pretty sure they can actually, looking at that. Yeah. So it's quite a big jump, but you can do it. I think that's a bit of a janky jump actually, so I'll keep pressing the main menu on. I think I'm going to bring all of that up by 1 notch on the grid. There you go. So we won't do anything taller than 1 meter in height, basically. There is not full damage fade. Not yet, anyway. I don't know if it's planned to be in the game or not. I get the impression it's not going to be in the game. Cool. Actually, I've got an idea. Instead of having it just curve around, I might have a second one go up this way as well. No, alright. So again, I'm going to grab all these, so I'm going to slice them down. So as you can see, that texture is continuing onwards, and if I wanted to optimise this later, what I could come along and do would be delete the extra faces that I don't need. Isolate the ones that I want to bring down further. Oops, that's still joined. There you go. They shouldn't be joined now. So I could isolate the extra faces, or the faces we do need, and just drag those down into position. So now there's less faces being used, which will be easier on a renderer, basically. Only plans for post-release content additions, or is it very much just a release and a leave? No. I know we're looking to continually support the game. I don't know what those plans are and how they apply yet, so I can't really reveal anything more than that. I just know that we do hope to keep the game alive. Cool. So if I continue to do what I've been doing and just chunk things down, I'm going to go for a smaller step here. I'm going to bring this one outwards a little bit. Slide that one in. So I've just sliced that to create an extra vertex. Bring this one in quite far. Just get a nice curvature to it. I'm an idiot. Actually, that might work out okay. I could just extrude this. Nah, I don't like it. Undo. Many undos. Okay. Are these still draggable? Yes, they are. So instead of dragging them downwards, I want to drag them. Rotate the bit. Ooh, okay. Excuse me, I've got to blow my nose again. Good question, Warpro. At the moment, there's no curved tools, so let me take this. Actually, I'm going to undo what I did a minute ago, just so it's. Is it still duplicated? It is. That's probably not an issue. No, cool. Right, I'm going to leave that there for a sec, and I will show you. Currently, if you wanted to do a curve, you would have to do each face yourself. So, if I delete the rest. If you wanted to make this wall act like a curve, it would have to. Oh god, pressing the wrong things here. Right. So you could go right down to the smallest grid, and you could simulate a curve with a bunch of tiny faces, which would be a very tedious way of going about it. I mean, very tedious. Sort of like this. But you'd probably go a bit more dense than this as well. This is just one way about going about it, so if I rotate it and flip it. Oh, I didn't duplicate it. Nice one. So yeah, you can do curved surfaces, and relatively quickly. But yeah, this will be a bit messy. Hey, thank you very much for the follow, OK Neiman. So if you did like a panel texture on it, you'd see each slice. So if you really wanted to get away with the like, God, my voice is going. I'm sorry. If you wanted to get away with the curve, you'd probably want to use a seamless texture, like the corrugated metal texture, for example. So now you can't see the seams as tightly. But I mean, that's using a lot of faces and so on and so forth. But we are looking to add a curve tool, so you can do things like archways and like cylindrical rooms and stuff easier. And using the tool, you'd be able to specify how many vertices it uses for the shape. So, like in this case, something like this, you'd probably specify. Well, we can count it together. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, thank you very much for the follow, Manbite Shark. For some reason, I thought you already followed. So, if you count these two sides here, that would be 12 lines, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 surfaces. So, yeah, if you wanted to do like a cylindrical column, and it was as smooth as this, you can specify it uses 44 surfaces. So I mean, actually it wouldn't be 44, it would be 40. So if I took all of those bar 1, duplicated it, flipped it around, moved it into position, I'm working on the smallest grid size, which is a lot more fiddly than it would be if I wasn't. Just going to move this over here a little bit. So if I wanted to do something like this, obviously the shape is a bit wonky because I haven't really done it mathematically. But there you go, you can do smooth corners and stuff. And if you wanted that to be a column, well, today's your lucky day. In fact, I'm going to make this an even size. Stitch all that together. So if you wanted that to be a column, chances are I could actually use this in the map now. Whoa. And then you could just invert it so it's that way round. Bang. Obviously I've got the light inside of it, which is why it looks so strange. If I move the light outside. So yeah, you can do stuff like that. At the moment, breaking tactics there isn't, but it's something both myself and Jason have asked Mike to do. So if everything goes my way, we're getting one. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Let's get back to mapping. So earlier I made these pieces, which I didn't actually want to bring down, I wanted to bring across. So I'm going to put them back up. Something here is very confused. Oh, I see. That one's full height. Right. To make my life easier, I've isolated these. I'll move these out of the way. And then these ones are here, because I did silly things. Cool. This should be back to normal now. So if I combine and weld this, so I can carry on as I was. Let's just line that up there first. So, yeah. If I wanted a platform coming out of here, just do that. Line that up to here. That is... To be honest, it doesn't matter if it sticks in the wall a little bit, that's totally fine. I'm going to bring this one in just a touch, so that this one can come more tightly. Slide that one over there. So these steps are going to get smaller as it goes down. Maybe a little bit bigger once it hits the bottom. Then we want to grab all the sides. Do what we were doing earlier. Bring this down. And grab the surfaces we want to extrude. So that's nice and tidy with the grid there. I'm going to split this into a separate piece. So Jason said yesterday he'd be showing off new features, but you missed the stream and the VOD was mostly muted. Any chance I know what those features are? Funnily enough, I chose to not update my build today because one of the hotkeys that I use all the time has changed. Because we've established that we want the G button to be more related to grid-related features, rather than changing game mode. So this one, which changes into the game view, has changed. So I want to get used to that new hotkey change off stream, so I don't sit here fumbling for half an hour each time, sort of thing. And yeah, I know that's one small change. I don't know all the changes. Is Jason not streaming anymore? Because I know he was streaming earlier. So you could always bounce in there and ask him a quick question. I'm sure I'd be happy to answer. Right, so I'm going to grab all the sides again. So each time I get through this step, because I'm making a big old set of stairs basically, there's more surfaces I have to click on and duplicate. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I do a 3 here, it's 3 more till it gets to the bottom. So this one I'm going to do especially large. I'm going to omit this one from... Actually, no, I'm not. If I just bring this out, I can then swing out the vertices as I need. Let's get this more in with the grid. That'll do.
Thank you for listening to Berries Alive.
Ha ha ha. Just because I like the song doesn't mean say I want the silly little outro. Oh, I forgot to grab all the other sides. One, 2, 3. There we go. So there we go. We've got some like rocky stairs. Now I feel like Jason would have been able to do that much quicker than me. But he's got a lot more time put into making these sort of rocky surfaces than I do. So I will get there soon. I will get quicker. There you go. Got to bring this light that we have up here across, just so we can see it a bit better for now. So yeah, that works quite nicely. And Breaking Tactics new. Or is it below the stream? This is the instrumental version of the song, by the way. Aha, yes. Yeah, so this is the instrumental version of the song. I highly recommend the proper version if you're into mathcore or like, I don't know, post-hardcore, I guess this song would fall into the genre of a bit. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a back to this piece. Just trying to think how I want this to look. I think if I go a bit larger, like that, bring this... Yeah, I think I'm going to go inwards on it. Like that. Oh, sorry guys, blown nose again. Streaming with a cold is like so much worse than it sounds like it would be. Just because you're trying to stay composed with your voice and stuff and you just can't do it. I'm going to duplicate this light up here so I can see the unit. So all I've done here is make a little angled box piece basically. So this can serve as like a portable light fixture. If I delete that you can see how this draws out. And I think to make it more illuminating... Oh god, I've just duplicated that too many times. I'm also going to add little lights to this piece here. So to do that, slice it in half. Combine it so it's all one piece, grab these two sides, and apply a light. So it's just a small light, this one isn't going to be as intense, so this range will be like 5. So hopefully that doesn't look too out of place. Maybe I'll put one on top as well. Oop. Duplicate this across, slide this up. This is one of those sort of units that if I get it right first go, I don't have to worry about it later. There you go, so that illuminates around it, but then it's got like a main light on the front. Thank you very much, Breaking Tactics. Cool. So I've now got this unit here. This is another feature that I want added to the editor, which is arbitrary rotation. At the moment, I can rotate left and right on a 90-degree axis only, which is a bit limiting at times, especially when working with this sort of geometry, because at the moment I would love to just sort of rotate it slightly at an angle so it comes into like the corner of this rather than being, I don't know, flush out the way like this sort of thing. What I think I'll do is have it so this piece is like built into the walls sometimes. It's like here it's touching the cliff face. And it sort of goes into it a bit. So if I bring this cliff face upwards, just so you can see it a bit better. Sort of in the wall, ever so slightly. Not sure. Not yet Breaking Tactics. There is for entities, so I could rotate the entity in any direction I want. But there isn't for brushwork, and it's something that I've requested, and I'm really hoping it gets implemented soon. Okay, I'm going to keep this module that I've made, this little prefab if you will, but I don't think it suits its purpose here. So I'm just going to bring this down here and leave it in the middle for now, as something I can use later. 2, 3, 4. Grab this as well. Going to bring it all the way out the way over here. Just leave it there for a bit. Because I feel like this would be a good place for spotlights. What if you parent the brush to a light as a workaround? No, that doesn't work either. There is one workaround you could do. It's such a convoluted one though, and this shouldn't be the only way to do it. Sorry about the background noise. So if I create a mover and I make it center to this, and I say rotates. Let's say I rotate it 30. Not on that axis. On that one. Say I wanted it rotated clockwise by 30 degrees. I could parent this to the mover. If I move the mover up so we can see the parent line. There you go. And start triggered. Don't repeat. Don't reset. Don't ping pong or anything. It just does that. And it does it in like 0.001, so it's instant. Play from here. Of course I can't see. It's too dark here. I forgot to put a light. So now I've got a rotated box. That's the only way I've worked out how to do an arbitrary rotation at the moment. But knowing, you know, the engine supports that kind of rotation means it should be possible in the editor itself. It just needs to be programmed in by Mike. Just to confirm, that's at an angle to this pillar, and this pillar's angled to the grid perfectly. Have made an entities map for saving my ideas? No, but it's not hard to. Ultimately, I'd actually save each individual entity out as a different map, so they become prefabs for later use. Because the idea is all these prefabs and stuff that I make, so say things like this light box that I've made here, these could be used by mappers. They could just place them in their maps and go ahead with it. So yeah, I mean, if I really wanted to do things rotated, I could do it like this right now. But I'm not happy with this solution on the premise that there will be a better solution later on. So I would rather not do things that I'm going to regret later, because I wouldn't want to have to go through the whole map and then undo all of these silly rotations just to make it work the way it's supposed to work later on. I think it's time to put a big old lamp in here. And these can be spotlights. I keep grabbing the wrong arrow. Being clumsy this stream. What is the time anyway? 9:30. Because I don't feel well. And I didn't sleep too well last night either. I think this stream will be ending pretty soon. I've moved that across, haven't I? Right. So if I was to let's have a think about this. I'm not used to working in such large scale with things on this editor yet. If I was to just grab these and slice them and bring this up here so it doesn't look too stupid just yet. If I convert this to a spotlight, rotate it to face some more interesting direction, place this basically inside the light here, go to a smaller grid so I can line this up a bit better. Gee. Excuse me. I'm gonna increase the angle to say 65, something bigger. Increase the range to 35, so it actually lights the surfaces, and bring this to here, so it's coming from the center of there. We could do a few cool things like this. Also, I don't think the map itself will be this dark when I go ahead with it. It might be slightly lighter. So, for example, if I wanted to make it ever so slightly lighter now, I could bring this light next to the environment probe so it affects it, and just do it at like a 0.2 intensity. I might need to do something to make that environment probe update. If I just reposition it, hopefully that'll be enough to cause it. But yeah, it gets affected by things near it. Maybe that's just not bright enough. Just going to try that. Okay, let's go in game, see if that changed it. It doesn't. Maybe that's not affecting it enough because it's so big. I don't fully understand environment probes yet, so. Cool. That certainly looks interesting. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So, like a attachment method, so not just parent and triggers, but an attachment line as well. That's sort of how parenting works already, but kind of not at the same time, if that makes sense. I think this would need to be... Got an idea. So if I was to duplicate this, and then we rotate it a few notches to the side, like 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 2, 3. Then duplicate it and rotate it. 1, 2, 3. It's a bit of a weird shape, isn't it, when I do that? Also feel like the brightness of this is possibly a bit excessive. And also because they're all inside of each other, this makes it messy. Yeah, something like this could work. Maybe the side ones need to be a bit less of a angle, but for now I'm not going to worry with that and just keep it to 1. I'm moving it too quickly. And then increase the angle to say like 95. That feels more logical. Yeah. But yeah, the lighting side of things is going to be a huge topic of playing about and making this work for me. I'm not sure about this lamp, honestly. I might need to do something a bit different. Okay, press the wrong button there, that's why. Yeah, I think for now that's a good start to a map. You get the general theme of the map going down, so we've got these like sort of sci-fi elements, and then we're going to have all the caves and stuff, and there'll be like mining equipment. I've considered maybe like a mine shaft, not mine shaft, a mine cart that you can ride, which will take you to like the next location. It'll be like an on-rail shooter type thing. Maybe I'll even have it so like parks up when there's a few enemies and you've got to shoot them out quick enough before they kill you. And it'll just be fun. Before I wrap up, can we get an overhead angle? You grabbed one earlier and you want another to compare? Yeah, sure, absolutely. So these middle ones I left the dev texture and I've changed that now to be a nicer thing. Not that you could really tell with that grate there, but better safe than sorry. So what sort of overhead do you want? Like this? Or one more like this sort of angle? Let me get rid of that wall over there. You can see where the environment probe ends. Oh, no you can't. That's where the outer wall ends. Sorry, I forgot I put that there. Obviously you wouldn't do a box like this normally, so it's just a quick way of me making this place dark. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Sweet. Why are you flashing at me, Google Chrome? Oh, Google Chrome couldn't update because you've still got it open. Well, no surprise there. So I'm just going to go in game quickly. Lame it. Here we are, we've got ourselves a fancy pants bridge. Some stairs into, well, nothing. And we've started this area over here. Obviously I haven't got anything else I can platform across to get back to the start at the moment, but yeah, we'll get there. So to those of you who are here, I'm planning on streaming every Tuesday and Thursday where possible to do Prodeus mapping, so if you're interested, tune in next Tuesday. But yeah, I feel like I really need to go for a break. I don't feel well at all. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I wish you the best of evenings. Take care.